Welcome back to Venom Motorsports. So today I'm going to help you troubleshoot if your bike has been idling and it just shuts off. There's usually going to be a reason for that. It could be something very minor, like your idle's just a little low, or it could be a minor vacuum leak. So I'm going to show you on the 250 or the 125. It really doesn't make a difference which bike it's going to be, but we're going to start both of these because they both seem to have that problem. They'll idle for a minute and then they'll stall out. So I can fire this one up. Both these bikes have Nibby carbs on them though, but it really doesn't matter. Nibby or stock. So this one doesn't want to. So that one's stalled. So I'm going to show you how to fix that. Turn that off now. This one's running, but it's just running. It's running way too low for what I like. It's running at about 1,000 RPM. That's not enough. So this one's probably going to be something really easy. I'm going to move the bike up a bit so I get between them. And we're going to start looking. It's idling down very low. This one down too. So, but let me show you real quick. I'll show you all the things to check, because it could be a vacuum leak, it could be anything, it could be just low idle speed, anything like that. It could be a dirty jet, it could be a few things, but we're going to go over a few things to check, and we'll see what we come up with. Alright, so we're going to start with the X22R, because it's the one that was stalling the most. Let's fire it up. Okay, so this one was quickly fixed with an idle adjustment. So we're gonna come back up now, and it's just. Now there's nothing wrong with it. It's running at the perfect RPM, which is between 1500 and 2000. That's what you want it to idle at. This one's idling perfectly now. So now we're gonna go to the other bike. And we're gonna take a look. This one I'm going to go a little bit more in depth because you can see the intake and stuff really good on this bike. So we're going to go down. Take a look. Now, when we get down here, if your intake, so if anywhere here is leaking, that's what it'll do as well. Your bike will also bog out very heavily. This one should start up. And the idle on this one's a little bit low too. But I like it probably around 1500 to 2000 is what it's idling at now. A little bit over. And you don't want to set your idle till your bike is warmed up. These both bikes are warmed up. I've been playing around with them in the shop a little bit. So. But now for vacuum leaks, so you'll see on this one it has an intake vacuum that goes to the evap system. So if I was to unplug that, it'll run way up, and then it's going to run really bad. Now if I plug that intake with my finger, it'll start running normally again. Now if I plug it back in to the evap system like it's supposed to be plugged into, it'll run perfectly as well. Now if there's any sort of leaks here on this vacuum, it'll die. Your bike will start to puff and it'll die. Now if I take some starting fluid or cleaning fluid, spray it around your intake like this, and you notice your bike revs really high or starts going down like it's going to die, then there's probably a leak. It's sucking in there somewhere. This one doesn't have a leak. It seems to be all right. Now again, any sort of vacuum leak is going to make your bike run weird. See how it does that? I'm trying to make it small. That can cause it. The slightest leak or any air that's sucking in before the carburetor is not good. So you want to make sure that you have no intake leaks. You want to make sure you have no vacuum leaks. Over years, these hoses can crack, and it doesn't necessarily have to be this hose. On the X22R, there's another vacuum hose like this, but it doesn't go into the intake. It goes into the side of the carburetor, and it's the same thing. If that line cracks, it can kill the machine, right? So such a difference if you start pulling vacuum lines off a bike. That can definitely cause issues. So but in places like California, states like that, you do need to have your emission system hooked up. In Canada here, we're the same. We have to have our emission systems hooked up. So you want to make sure that none of those are malfunctioning, because it does take away from the power of your bike and it won't run right. And so sometimes when you're coming to a stoplight or anything like that, your bike will shut off and you'll have to start it again. So those are things to check on these two models. I'm going to make another video on the GT to show different things on the GT. So you're probably looking at, if your idle's a little low, so if you come to a stop and your idle's at 1000 RPM, it can die out. It happens. You just want to turn up your idle. It might not necessarily be able to screw like this. On some, it's on right in this, but it's going to be right in the center of your carburetor, and there's going to be a screw. before you go and start turning screws, because on the Nibby carbs there's an air screw right there, but the idle has a wheel, so you can turn the wheel. But on most carburetors there's a screw, and the screw's right here. But before that, do a little bit of research first, because if you start messing around with air screws, that can really mess up your bike, and you don't want to mess up with the air and fuel mixture on your motorcycle, or you'll have to reset it. So it's just not something that you want to touch or play around with. Don't touch your air screw unless you're on a set video that's showing you how to do that. And that's pretty well it. So that's the things that I would check if my bike was stalling at stoplights. Another thing that can cause it too is the fuel filter. So on this bike, it's a pretty big fuel filter. On that bike, it's a little bit smaller, but if it collects a lot of dirt down in the bottom here, it can stop fuel from flowing through here, and just some fuel will be getting through and not enough, and that will easily make it stall out too. So you want to make sure that your fuel filter is nice and clean. You can always see it. It's transparent. Usually you can look through it. It's the same on this other bike, on the X22R. There should be a fuel filter. It's right here, again, transparent. I can see there's nothing wrong with it. It's working perfectly. So that one I think just got changed. It just had an oil change and everything done on this bike. So now both bikes are running perfect. But those are the things I would check first if it's stalling. Another quick thing you could do is change the spark plug. If the spark plug starts getting fouled up, and I can show you different spark plugs that have been fouled and what they look like. So this one here is a fouled plug. It's just really dirty. It was on an ATV for a really long time. They'll usually get black like that. And you could always, like I said, change the spark plug. Changing the spark plug is also a seasonal maintenance thing you wanted to take care of when you're seasonal maintenance. But always take a look for vacuum leaks, things like that on your bike. Check for cracked hoses. A cracked hose will literally do that to you. A cracked hose can leave you on the side of the road. So, and also keep a little toolkit underneath your seat, maybe with a roll of black tape, because if you do have a cracked hose, quick roll from a piece of black tape just to get you back home, and you can change that hose. But those are the things I would check if my bike was stalling out. Like and subscribe, and hope to see you in the next video.